of Blitz, Bangladesh, live from Dhaka. We have Major General Rajan Kochar, defense and geopolitical expert, Suhas Chakma, Director of Rights and Risks Analysis Group, and we also have Subir Bhaumik, author and senior journalist. Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you for joining me on this special debate. Firstly, let me go across to Shoaib Chaudhry, because Shoaib, it's really important to understand, the kind of threat that the Hindu communities are facing on ground zero, and how, serious is this threat against celebrating Makar Sankranti?
Thank you very much, Mr. Deepak. You see, since the 2024 jihadist coup in this country, it is an well-orchestrated attack continuing, not only on the Hindus, not only on the religious minorities, but on Bengalis in general. And they are targeting and attacking Bengali culture. For example, during the Pahela Baishak, we observed the Mangal Shobhajatra, and last year they declared Mangal Shobhajatra as haram. And this time they are even having the massive campaign calling upon everyone, including Hindus, to refrain from observing Makar Sankranti and branding it as haram. So this is a very scary situation which we may have seen in Iran, which we definitely have seen in Pakistan and other rogue nations. But in Bangladesh, a country of 180 million Bengalis, I mean, we could not even believe that such thing we will see in this country. I mean, this is a direct attack. It's not an attack on Hindus. It's not an attack on religious minorities. This is a direct attack on the very existence and identity of Bengalis. Deepak.
That's right, sir. And General Kochar, how should India respond to such, threats, such warnings being issued to the Hindu community members? Do you think that we should diplomatically strengthen our stand against Bangladesh?
Thank you, Deepak. Very rather alarming news from our neighbor, friend, Bangladesh, if I can still call it as a friend. You see, what is happening here is that the government has been taken over by these elements, these fringe elements, I will call, but now they are calling the shots, Jamaat Islami. What is Muhammad Yunus doing as the head of the state in Bangladesh? Can he not rein in these elements? Because see, before coming to what India can do, I want to ask the Bangladesh head of state, what is he doing about it? Because these are his own people. After all, you are the first Bangladeshi, Bangladesh national. Only then you are either a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, or some other community. So it is the responsibility of the government to ensure the safety and security, and a secular structure, like you should have the sensitivities to allow each religion to celebrate its own festival. And coming now to this point of leverage or diplomatically, you said we have already, I think, passed that stage, because twice this Bangladeshi High Commissioner has been called in Delhi. A demarche has been given to him, but I don't think it is working. This visa thing is also coming up, and the IPL also came up, the T20 tournament also came up. So there are a number of these issues which are linked with each other. And I think we have to go international now. UN rapporteurs are there. We'll have to involve the UN rapporteurs now, European Union, friendly countries like France, Japan, and Australia, because this particular issue has to be taken up at a very highest international level. Some kind of pressure on Bangladesh has to be brought about. You see, this pressure from India does not seem to be working in the manner I can see the killing of Hindus are still going on today. Also, I believe one Hindu has been killed. So, how do we put an end to this kind of sacrilege in Bangladesh? As my friend Shoaib from Bangladesh has pointed out, that Bangladesh is going either the Pakistan way or the Iran way. So it's extremely important because these minorities have their linkages in India. They are Hindus. We also have Hindus in our country, and it is bound to have an effect on our psyche, on our people, if our this religious commonality is being treated in such a manner in neighboring countries. So I think before applying the leverages, because we have leverages, is river water, agreements. The Ganges treaty is due for renewal in the month of April. So that is one leverage. We can put that into a back burner for some time. And power and electricity, export of food grains, petroleum products, so many leverages India has, but possibly India is not wanting to aggravate the situation, because we are waiting for 12th of February when the elections in Bangladesh will take place. Then I think possibly a more clearer picture of the situation between Indo-Bangladesh relations will come up.
And Suhas Chakma, a very important question must be asked to the state institutions, because time and again, day on day, rights of Hindus and minority community members are not being safeguarded. Do you think this is a systemic, targeting of Hindus in Bangladesh?
Not systemic, it's part of the state policy. It's the policy of the Yunus government. I think what we have to realize is that we are alone in this entire battle, because the UN has almost been sold out to the Yunus government. And if you look at the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, the number of the statements they have issued on the elections in Rwanda and the number of statements they have issued on Bangladesh shows that the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights has been compromised. We campaigned for its establishment in Dhaka, and now they have an office in Dhaka, and you could see the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights seldom issues any statement. In fact, even when Potomalo and the Daily Star were burned down, we urged the High Commissioner for Human Rights to speak about it. He didn't speak about it. This UN Special Rapporteur Irene Khan, who is a Bangladeshi national, she raised it, but the entire UN human rights system has collapsed. The other way I think we have to look at is that none of the European countries are actually raising any human rights issues with the current government, and they have put their all eggs in the basket of Dr. Yunus. So you could see the entire Western countries, as far as they are concerned, apart from the issue of burning down of the Daily Star and Pradhamalo, they have never spoken about the violence against the Hindus and etc. So they are basically waiting for the elections to take place, which will basically be a coalition government. I think there is one particular issue which the government of India at the end of the day has to bear in mind. I mean, if the government of India doesn't stand up, if it believes that its diplomacy is going to work out, if it believes that there is a way out for inclusive elections, which will include the Army League, which will never happen, then I think the government of India has failed to read the situation, and the situation of the minorities in Bangladesh, especially the Hindu minorities, will be disastrous. And I think we have to bear in mind that their situation will be far worse than the Hindus in Pakistan, because what we have in Bangladesh, it's like the neo-converts. So the Islamist forces, which we are out of power from 1971 onwards, and who believe that their country should have been with Pakistan, for the first time, it's like the new baptized people. So they are more aggressive for their religious tone and etc. And that's going to set the agenda in Bangladesh. And we have to somewhere decide how to approach this situation. And neither the UN nor the European countries will come for you rescue, because they are part of the entire destabilization. They support this current government. And of course, the Americans, the less we speak, I think the better it is.
That's right. The West doesn't really speak about it. Europe is completely silent. There's radio silence from across the world because there's only selective outrage. When there is Islamophobia, everybody, starts speaking. When Jews are under attack, then the West and Europe will start speaking. But when Hindus are attacked, when the faith is compromised by Islamist radicals, Subir Bhaumik, why is it that, in Bangladesh, when Hindus are being slaughtered, they're being lynched, their faith is under attack, why is it that there is no condemnation from the world? And also tell us about how the media in Bangladesh is reporting. Is the media really reporting all these things on state televisions, or is it suppressing them?
Well, the media in Bangladesh, and I'm a media person myself, they are living in fear. What happened to Prathamalo and Daily Star, you have all seen. The buildings were set on fire, and a lot of people were inside. With great difficulty, they were brought out. Journalists, they were trapped inside. So most media people in Bangladesh, with the exception of people like my good friend Shoaib Bhai, most people in Bangladesh are believing that, discretion is better than valor. They don't want to get into trouble. I have to point out that there is, for the last 1.5 years, under this so-called great Nobel laureate Yunus, who is the placid face of a radical Islamist takeover of this country. He has presided over this. Make no mistake, it is Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel laureate, the sweet-talking, English-speaking Nobel laureate. He didn't get Nobel Prize in economics, by the way. Yeah, if he's such a great economist, he would have got it for economics. He got it for peace. Nobel Peace Prizes are mostly political. So we all know what a fraud he is. But he has actually tied up and teamed up with the Islamists, just not the Hindus, the Buddhists in Chittagong Hill Tracts. They have been attacked. Most importantly, the Sufis, their mazars, nearly 70 of the Sufi mazars. And you please try to understand that it is the Sufis who popularized Islam in the Bengal frontier. Yeah? It's a very different kind of Islam than the Wahhabi Salafist Islam that we see in the Middle East. This was a tolerant, syncretic version of Islam. Now look at this. Over the last 1.5 years, Shoaib Bhai will agree with me, Lalon Mela has been banned. They stopped Lalon Mela. Lalon Fakir is one of those great syncretic Muslim saints who is revered by both Hindus and Muslims. So this is a syncretic culture and based and driven by language. Okay, Bengali language. It's very different. So here there is a conscious attempt by these hybrid Pakistanis. I call them hybrid Pakistanis. They speak in Bangla, they can't speak Urdu. I can actually. But they want to believe that they should be Pakistanis. These hybrid idiots in Bangladesh, who are the defeated forces of 71, they are trying to bring into Bangladesh an Islam which is entirely out of sync with the Islam that has existed over the centuries in undivided Bengal and then in Bangladesh. And therefore, they started off with massive attacks on the Sufi shrines. Similar things we have seen in Kashmir, and inspired by the Pakistanis. Then they started attacking Hindu temples, Buddhist viharas in Chittagong Hill Tracts, and these attacks have grown out of proportion. Most importantly, they have been encouraged by the fact that Muhammad Yunus's administration has released large number of Islamist radical extremists who were in jail, who had been jailed during Sheikh Hasina's regime. They have been released. Jashimuddin Rahmani, one of the top terror groups in Bangladesh, Ansarullah Bangla team, the chief of this Ansarullah Bangla, Jashimuddin Rahmani, was not only let off, he was let off before his time in prison expired. His sentence was not yet over. Most importantly, he was given a military helicopter to go and visit one of his relatives. I don't exactly remember who, one of his close relatives who had died. So here is a terrorist who is in jail, comes out of jail, gets a military helicopter, flies down to southern Bangladesh, one of the districts there, where this namaz-e-janazah is taking place. All these people have been released. those who were convicted for trying to bring in 10 truckloads of weapons through Chittagong in 2004. Major General Rizakul Haider Chaudhry has been released. Jamaat-e-Islam's former Amir, Ghulam Azam, his son, Brigadier Azmi, has been released. And these are the people who are now conspiring to actually, weaponize this entire new radical Islamic cult that is surfacing with a
You know,
vengeance.
Bomik ji, Mohammed Yunus must really understand this, that if
He understands
Bangladesh's
everything.
map is there
Suresh,
on the,
1 minute.
globe,
Suresh,
it
1
is,
minute.
haha, please go ahead.
Yunus understands everything. He is doing this deliberately because neither Awami League nor BNP will make him president. He wants to be president. Only Jamaat-e-Islami will make him president. There is an agreement between them. Why he wants to be president? He wants immunity from prosecution because he was booked for a number of crimes like money laundering, like financial embezzlement, labor law violations. And now, after he came to power, he has done out of turn favors for his Grameen group of companies for which there are obvious conflict of interest issues. So he wants immunity from prosecution. If he is the president, he will also be the supreme commander of armed forces. Now in India, General Saab is here. In India, that does not matter. But in Bangladesh, like in Pakistan, somebody who controls the army, supreme commander is important. He will control the army. And most importantly, this election is entirely illegal because the election is going hand in hand with a referendum which is not permitted by the Bangladesh constitution. Neither is interim government in the constitutional provisions of Bangladesh. So Mr. Yunus heads an illegal government. He is doing everything illegal. And mind you, this is by design. This is not by accident. This is not a man who is not in control. He is in league. His exterior is, well, soft, suave, English speaking, sweet talking, Nobel laureate. He is the king of fundamentalists. He is in league with Jamaat Islami and other radical
What I was
groups.
trying to say, is Mohammed Yunus and Bangladesh, Bangladesh really exists on the globe, on the world map, because India helped create a separate state. India played a very, very crucial role, and Indian interests cannot be
Bangladesh
completely
exists on the map
sidelined.
because of
And
its Bengaliness.
that's right. And India played a very crucial role, sir. We helped all the refugees. We provided arms. We provided medical support. We provided everything. But today,
Soldiers
you know,
died with the freedom fighters.
that's right.
Most importantly.
That's right. And today, when Hindus are under attack, it is Bangladesh, it is Yunus's responsibility to ensure their safety. But Suhas Chakma, it seems like safety
He
is out
will
of
do
sight.
nothing.
Absolutely, as Subidar had mentioned, because these are being done by design as part of the entire strategy to carry favor from the BNP, from the Jamaat Islami. So he will continue to do it. At the end of the day, if the government was serious, they could have immediately taken actions with respect to all the violations which have taken place. Please remember, on 5th of September 2024, when he was, interviewed, I think it was by the PTI, about the attacks on the Hindu fundamentalists, Hindu minorities, he basically said they were attacked because they belong to the Awami League. So he dismissed this as attacks on the, Awami League as political violence. So my fear is these violence which are taking place since December, they are only symptoms. From 21st January, when the campaigning starts little bit between the candidates, we will see unprecedented violence upon the Hindu minorities, Hindu women, and of course in the Chittagong text also, because this is part of the strategy. I think we have to bear in mind that there is a section of the Jamaati Islami who believe that all the lands and all the properties of the Hindus should be, taken over during this period of political campaigning, because the political campaigning will be used to unleash unprecedented scale of violence. Then it will not be reported by anybody in the press, because press is no longer free and fair, and they leave themselves under fear. If you are Daily Star or Prathamalo, the biggest newspapers have been burned down. Obviously, nobody would dare to report anything about it. So the difference, what has happened in 2001, when the BNP had won the elections and the violence were unleashed, and the violence which took place after the fall of Sheikh Hasina, I think we have to bear in mind it was possible to report this incidents. And now, if you look at the current trends of the attacks on the Hindu minorities and the newspaper, they seldom report about it. There are no analysis about all these attacks, even though the attacks appear to be completely systematic. So safety is not an issue because the government of Bangladesh under Dr. Yunus, I mean, is purposely and selectively targeting the Hindu minorities. So since the state itself is involved in it, so there's a question of safety and security, and that's why it's almost unfortunate reality it is. It's almost we are just standing like a mute witness. I mean, India will stand like a mute witness till 12th of February, because everybody expects elections will lead to some kind of government formation for them to understand the situation. And of course, there will be a little bit of post-election violence. By that time, I think Hindus will suffer, especially severe violence in the Chittagong Hill Tracts region also, because tribals are still little bit population-wise large numbers, and they live in particular territories, so you could identify them, so it becomes much more difficult. But with respect to the Hindu minorities, it's very, very difficult to have any particular village which belongs to Hindus. There might be a sizable percentage in a village, so they are much more vulnerable, and they will face much more violence in the plain areas than in the hill
The
tracts.
next 2 months, Suhas Chakma, is very, very crucial and very, very important, and it will be, very, very closely watched, because till a legitimate government is in place in Bangladesh, Hindus will continue to suffer. Before I come to you, General Kochar, let me quickly take in a word from Shoaib Chaudhry as to what will happen. Shoaib Chaudhry ji, there are warnings, there are posters, there are social media messages sent out that, Makar Sankranti is considered as haram. But what happens if a Hindu celebrates it?
In my personal opinion, these Islamists tried to stop us from celebrating this Mangal Shavadatra during the last year's Bengali New Year. And they said they are trying to obstruct the Mangala Sankranti, and they will not be successful. And with my humble submission, I would like to draw attention of the honorable co-panelists that actually don't expect anything from the February 12th election, because it's not an election, it's a stage drama. And through the stage drama, either Jamaat-e-Islami comes to power, heading Bangladesh to caliphate rule, or it is BNP introducing Sharia rules. So for Bengalis, for us, 180 million, it's a choice between fry pan and fire.
That's right. General Kochar, what is the way forward? Because Suhas Chakma says that India is not being strong enough in asserting itself in demanding the safety of Hindus in Bangladesh. So what's the way forward? International institutions are all, bought out. There is Chinese and the Western presence, and they are really not going to say anything about it. So who will really have to be accountable, and who will have to be responsible for the safety of Hindus in Bangladesh?
Deepak, see, what is happening now is this pre-election. I'll just divide my argument in pre and post-election. Pre-election, what is happening is that Hindus are being targeted. There are many constituencies in Bangladesh which are Hindu dominated. So, what is going to happen is these Hindus will be prevented from casting their vote. So, you may find a Muslim candidate, or you may find a BNP person being a non-Hindu from a Hindu dominated constituency. So that actually gives you very little representation of Hindus in their parliament. So that is one cause for worry in the pre-election. Post-election, as my co-panelists actually brought out, it is more or less is going to be a sham election. It will be a choice between the BNP or the Jamaat-e-Islami, or we may even find a coalition government like it was during the previous BNP regime. So now comes the question, or the vital question, that what does India do? See, India will first exhaust all its diplomatic options and all its international options, whatever options India has, because a force is not a military solution is not the answer to this problem, because even if you have a military solution, it's not going to cause much of difference in Bangladesh. So the point here is that where are the leverages with India? I actually mentioned to you earlier also. Those leverages will have to come out in the open in the form of a coercive diplomacy, because in the there is a saying in Hindi na कि इसको दूध अगर इसको घी अगर इसको पतली उंगली से नहीं निकलता तो उसको दूसरे एक तरीके से निकालना पड़ता है. So thinking of that kind of a situation is not going to be good for India, because we have a sensitivity on the border today, and we have a large portion of those borders which do not have that kind of a fencing. Porous borders are there, and many of the borders you can't even have a fencing because it's a riverine kind of a thing, marshy land and things like that. So that is going to be a very great security concern. With the ISI and the terrorist groups, Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba have already declared that they're going to have a presence in Bangladesh.
That's right, and the extreme radicalization of the population in Bangladesh is exactly playing into the hands of these anti-India and terrorist forces, that are our neighbors apparently. But many thanks, General Kocher, Shoaib Salahuddin Chaudhry.